Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. That was not happy enough. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I've done a sit down video. Do you know what? I don't even really have a plan for this. I just did my makeup and I want to feel a bit better about myself, and then I didn't want to waste that makeup because I'm not going anywhere. And I have been wanting to sit down and film a video for a little while now, but I really haven't been in the mental health space to do that. But today I'm actually feeling good. My lips are really crusty, so if you see my lips crusting up, then just mind your own business. Actually, I'm gonna get some lip stuff now. This stuff is a dream, by the way. Elizabeth Arden. Oh, I just got the worst lips this time of year. I literally got like 3 lips and they're so crusty. Grim. And then you have to lube up like your whole mouth area. Oh yeah, baby. It's fashion, okay? So, today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health, as always. It's been a rough year, hasn't it? It has been a rough year. I know that so many people are struggling. I really don't think anyone has gone through this year and come out unscathed. And we can all label it to 2020. But I think the reality is it's going to be like this for a little bit longer now. And we're going to come into 2021 and be like, oh, new beginnings, new start, fresh, blah, 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 blah. And actually, it might be quite disheartening when things are the same. One thing that I know I've struggled with so bad, and that I know other people have struggled with, and that I'm still battling, is motivation. I do not have the motivation to do anything more than the bare minimum. Some days the bare minimum is existing, literally staying alive and fighting all other dark, nasty thoughts. And some days the bare minimum is being able to go to work and just do that. And some days I see my friends, or I'm able to do more things, but I don't have the motivation to deal with life. It's really difficult to explain this, because I think that when you think about people with depression or people who are having depressive episodes, you think about them being really sad all the time, really low, really angry, and that definitely is true. But I know that, myself included in this, I have the ability to have a lot of fun, and to really be laughing, and to really be hanging out with my friends, and people will say like, oh, you look so happy, like you're having such a good time, and I am in those moments, but there's a level of complete darkness that is always there, and that is kind of prevalent unless I am super busy, you know, trying the best to mask it all. So I don't really think people understand as much, because it's not as obvious in my signs of who I am in my daily life, which is really difficult. My depression is very high functioning. I'm kind of like, oh, I can do all my normal things, so why do I literally feel like my world is crumbling down? Other things that happen when I'm feeling really depressed can make me really lazy. So my self-care is the first thing to go, and I'll be brutally honest here and say there are days where I go for a couple of days without brushing my teeth, without showering, longer without showering, without changing, without eating properly, without sleeping properly, using all kind of coping mechanisms and escapism that is not healthy, and it's ugly. That's the ugly side of depression, and there's so much more. I'm not saying that's it, but for me, that's what really is tough. I don't look after myself. I'm more likely to not take my antidepressants when I'm really low. I don't know why that is. Again, I don't know if it's just a lack of self-care, or I'm more forgetful. I just find it so hard to do adult things. I can get up, I can see my friends, I can have a really good time, I can enjoy life, but there are so many things right now that are mounting up and building up, because I just don't have the energy or the mental strength to sort them out. sometimes I feel like I don't really have an excuse for that. And sometimes I'm really hard on myself because I'm like, just pick up the phone, just make that appointment, speak to that person, ring the bank, do what you need to do. This is your life passing you by. But I can't. I literally can't. And that's not me telling myself that I can't or trying to be pessimistic. That's me validating how I feel, because if someone had a broken leg, you wouldn't ask them to run a marathon. When someone has mental health issues and we're expected to carry on as adults and deal with things, and this age is so weird because we're not really adults. We don't have it together. We're not settled. Some of us are, obviously, but lots of us aren't settled. We don't know what we want to do. We haven't made a family, but we're expected to deal with money issues and bills and rent and lots of really scary things that you're not really ever prepared for. And when you add in a pandemic, it's just kind of all gone out the window, and it's really been like a loss of control. I feel like I've always been, this year I've been very much like, okay, don't put too much pressure on yourself, don't be too hard on yourself, you've had a really rough year, your mental health is not great, so just chill, take a couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. But when I say something has happened every single month of this year that has broken my world, that's true, and I haven't stopped being in sort of crisis the whole time, because the second I deal with one issue or pick myself back up from one thing, something else knocks me down. And, you know, I was thinking to myself the other week, is this what it's going to be like? Is this adult life? Because when you get that month on month on month, you're like, when is this going to end? And I know a lot of people will be feeling like this. And it's difficult to keep going. It is difficult to keep going. And there's been plenty of times where I've thought about not keeping going, because if this is what it is, then I don't want it, you know? But I kind of thought to myself the other week, I was like, the world keeps turning. The world keeps turning. And you sitting there feeling sorry for yourself is fine for a while. You have to validate. But you also have to get back up. And I don't know how to get back up sometimes. I don't believe in tough love. I don't believe in just getting on with it. I don't believe that you should push things down. But I also can't sit here month after month and say, I'm giving myself a break because my mental health's bad. Because the world keeps spinning. The world keeps spinning. There's still bills to pay. There's still finance to sort out. There's still things that I've got to do for work and my career that are not getting done. And before I know it, months and years are going to have passed me by. And I'm going to have been stuck in a rut. And that's really scary. That's the scariest thing. I don't know how to get my motivation back. I don't know how to get that spark back. I know that spark's still there sometimes when I'm doing silly things, when I'm hanging out with the right people and we're having a laugh. It's definitely still there, and that's what keeps me going. And I'm very lucky, and I'm not disputing that. But there's still this overwhelming sense of doom of like, I literally can't do anything. And I feel like a teenager. And I always kind of want to be a teenager. I want to be someone else's responsibility. I don't want to be my own responsibility because I don't know how to do it, and I'm letting myself down and failing at every hurdle. And I don't know if anybody can resonate with that, but it's really tough. With the year that it's been, even if you're not really too fazed by COVID, maybe it hasn't really affected you, maybe you've dealt with it really well, it's still there. Do you know what I mean? We can't escape it. We literally can't escape it. We can't do anything about it. There's so much uncertainty. We don't know when it's going to go away. We don't know when the vaccine's going to come, if the vaccine's safe. There's lots of scaremongering. There's lots of false, fake media out there. Every time you leave the house, you're reminded that we're in a global pandemic because there's people in masks, there's restrictions, there's things you can't do. We've had our lives snatched away from us. And I know that that is the least of some people's problems. And there are lots of people out there who would say, oh, well, I know someone who had a family member die of COVID. And yes, of course, that is devastating. And that is worst possible case scenario. But it's also okay to validate how you feel. It's okay to be upset that you haven't been clubbing in a while. I'm devastated that I haven't been clubbing in a while. I miss dancing so much. I miss dancing with my friends. I miss the loud music. I miss just letting go and being liberated. It's okay to miss that. It's okay to just miss going out for meals. It's okay to be annoyed that you don't get to do the things that you want to do, even if they are just your hobbies or a pastime or whatever it is, social activity. Don't invalidate that, because that's where we start to go wrong. And I don't like this whole culture of, oh, someone's got it worse than me, because someone will always have it worse than you in the eyes of society. But actually, if that's the worst thing you've ever been through, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. You're not prepared to know how to deal with that yet. And for some people, having their freedom stripped of them is the worst thing that's happened to them. And that's okay too. And it doesn't even have to be the worst thing that's happened to you. We just have to be a little bit kinder to ourselves and validate and acknowledge that we have all actually been through such a lot this year. Just that fact that there is a global pandemic, that it's scary, that there's people that are dying, that we don't know when this is going to end, is a lot. There's a lot of anxiety out there. There's anxiety in the air, as I keep saying. And you're going to absorb that. You're going to feel some of that, even if it's not really affecting you personally. I've heard a lot about people growing and changing and doing so many new fantastic things with lockdown and quarantine and furlough, and that's amazing, you know. If you have used time or this year to take up a new hobby, take up a new skill, learn a language, bake a banana bread cake, get into the gym, well done, that's amazing. But I feel like for most of us, our achievement has been just surviving, and you should be bloody proud of that. You should be so proud of that. You don't need a new skill or a new hobby or a new language to validate the year that we've had and how strong and brave you are and how strong and brave we have all been, because it's not free time. It's not time off. It's anxious time. Some people haven't been able to do the things that they wanted to do, have had to cancel events, holidays. Some people have had to work from home and get a pay cut. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people have been cooped up in the same four walls for work and for uni. People have not had contact time with tutors. It's not free time, it's not extra time, it's COVID time, it's anxious and it's uncertain, and it's okay if you can't do anything, because most days I cannot do anything apart from just sit and exist, and that is okay too. That is okay too, and people might try and tell you that it's not, but it is. That is okay. Another thing, I think this year has made a lot of people selfish. I think that it has been really hard for people, myself included, for some of us to understand why some people are colder, why some people are more distant, why some people are less affectionate, because they just have to be. I think everybody's in survival mode, everyone's in fighter mode, everyone's like, I can't deal with this, I've just got to do what I can to get through. And it has made people selfish, and it has made people change. And I think that we've kind of seen the worst in everyone. And I know that people have seen the worst in me this year, absolutely. But I don't believe that we're going to survive this pandemic and this time in our lives by being selfish. I think that what is going to get us through, and what I truly believe in more than anything, is love and kindness and compassion. And I think there's a lot of compassion fatigue this year, where understandably people haven't got their energy in them to be compassionate. They can't even be compassionate for themselves, let alone other people. But I think if that's something that we all worked on, we'd all feel a little bit more like a community, like there's more togetherness, as opposed to being like, I'm not here for me and I'm fighting for me. We need to be fighting for other people and dragging other people through with us, kicking and screaming. I'm not really sure if all of this like makes sense. I am just kind of just speaking, and I'm hoping that it resonates with someone. or maybe even just helps me. So I'm sorry if this is a little bit waffly. I'm definitely starting to feel more myself recently. I'm starting to get a little bit of that motivation back. Everyone's different and everyone works differently. What worked for me was I gave in to how I felt. Instead of trying to fight it, instead of putting loads of pressure on myself and saying, no, you have to do this today, you need to do this, you need to do this, and then waking up every day with dread and not wanting to do anything and already being exhausted from thinking about what I had to do, I just stopped. And I'm not saying it's the healthiest thing, and I'm not saying that it won't have consequences, but I'm starting to feel better, so I feel like that's been a good move for me personally, and we're all different. I monged around, I did nothing but socialise when I wanted to, and watched crap on TV when I wanted to, and eating rubbish. And it's not the healthiest way of dealing with stuff, but I just took the pressure off myself. I let myself wallow for a while, and I let myself feel everything that I've been through this year. And I think now that maybe I can start to come out the other side of it and start to feel a little bit better. But it is scary because I feel like at the moment my moods are like doo, 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 doo. So now that I'm back up here again a little bit, I'm like, oh, when's going to be the next crash? But I know you can't think like that, but when that keeps happening, it's only natural that you fear that a little bit. I guess if you're struggling with your motivation too, what I want to tell you is to just keep going by any means necessary. And I mean any means. If it keeps you alive, if it's between that and suicide, do it. Whatever it is, just keep existing, because it's not going to feel like this forever. It's not always going to be this hard. I truly believe that. I have to believe that. Life's never going to be easy all the time, but it's not always going to be this hard. And you're strong. We are all stronger than we think. I think about this when I hear about really extreme cases, you know, parents losing children, partners being murdered, the worst things that you could imagine happening to you or someone you love in life. And I think, how do you wake up every day? Because I'm 23 and I've got a lot going for me. I've got a lot of things to be blessed and lucky about. So why do I feel like giving up and completely hopeless when there's people out there that are getting up each day having that happen to them? But that's where it comes back to the not comparing yourself. There's always going to be someone who's experienced something worse than you. That doesn't mean that how you feel isn't valid or isn't okay. But what it shows me is that people are adaptable and humans are very resilient. We think we can't take it. Some of the things that have happened to me this year, if you had told me that they were going to happen, I wouldn't be here today, because the thought of dealing with that would have been so much worse than the reality. And actually I've gone through things that I would never have imagined, situations that I would never have dreamt up, and I'm still here because I am resilient. We are resilient. We hear about things and we think, oh my god, that would end me, that would break me. But actually they don't. It's amazing where we can pull strength from and what we can do when we have to. I guess what to take from that is that pain does not last forever. Things that send your world crashing down in the moment, they get easier, they get more normalised, and they get better to deal with. When somebody dies, it doesn't ever get easier. It just gets more normal, so you can deal with it better. So your emotions aren't always running amok with the feeling. And that can be applied to anything that you go through in life. The more normal it gets in your brain, the less it's triggering. And I kind of hope that that happens with this pandemic too. I hope that if it doesn't go anywhere for a while, I hope that we all get a bit more used to it and it gets a little bit more normal for us, so that it stops feeling like such a heavy pain and such a weight. Like I said, I don't know if any of this has made any sense. Maybe I'll edit it back and be like, you didn't even have a focus point. But I hope it resonates with someone. I hope maybe that comforts someone, or just to be like, yeah, not everything's hunky-dory. It's really, really actually rubbish. But I am saying to myself now and to future me that I will survive this. I will survive everything that life throws at me, and it's not anybody's fault for how I felt, and it's not anybody's fault for the things that I'm going through, and it's not my fault either, and I'm doing the best that I can, and that's okay, even if that is just literally getting out of bed some days, or like I said, existing. Give yourself that credit too. Be kind to yourself in these times. Speak kindly to yourself and your body and everything and everyone. Speak kindly to each other. Hold each other a little tighter. Love each other a little harder. I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult to summon up that energy when you haven't got it yourself, but it'll come back tenfold. And I've really found that. I've poured love into people and it's been poured into me back, and that's revived me. That has saved me. Isolating yourself, it's self-destruction. Sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes you have to take yourself away and recharge. But speak out, reach out, speak to your GP if you can. I know that's so so cliche and can be so hard. Medication has the ability to change your life, so don't brush it off. Don't be too proud to accept medication or to accept help. Consider therapy. I know it's not everyone's bag. I know why some people don't understand it, but I truly believe in the therapeutic process. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen to me, to my friends. I've seen it work wonders. So please reach out. Please speak to each other. Speak to me if you need advice on how to look for therapy that's right for you, or medication. So yeah, maybe you're not even still watching, so you won't even hear me say that to you. But stay safe. Look after each other, validate your own feelings. You are enough, you're okay, it's gonna be okay. I know it's not now, but it's gonna be okay. And keep smiling, okay? Look after yourself, look after each other. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, whatever. And yeah, thanks for all the support and love always. Take care and have a wonderful Christmas. A little Christmas tree in the corner.